The calendar on your wall is lying to you. Society has convinced you that with every passing year, your relevance fades, your edge dulls, and your value plummets. You look in the mirror and wonder if your best days are trapped in the past. But this panic is a manufactured illusion designed to keep you insecure and compliant. A man's peak is never defined by his youth or his physical prime. It is defined by the unbreakable weight of his frame. The modern world strips men of their psychological armor, leaving them reactive, hesitant, and weak. Yet the men who command the deepest respect do so not through the car they drive, but through a hidden architecture of habits that younger men simply cannot comprehend. The biological market operates on rules you were never taught. While youth trades on raw potential and frantic energy, maturity trades on proven stability and anchored presence. The anxiety you feel about getting older stems from playing a young man's game with an older man's reality. You're trying to compete on the axis of chaotic momentum when you should be ruling from a throne of immovable certainty. Women are biologically wired to detect the difference between a man who is anxiously grasping at his fading youth and a man who has fully occupied the fortress of his acquired years. When you desperately cling to the behaviors of your 20s, you broadcast a signal of profound insecurity. You become a tragic figure, reacting to the world instead of shaping it. Historically, the elders of the tribe were never the court jesters. They were the silent architects of survival. The psychological impact of rejecting your own age is a constant low-level panic. It is the exhaustion of holding your breath, hoping no one notices the cracks in your facade. This inner turmoil is loud, and it instantly repels the very attention you're trying so desperately to capture. The paradigm shift requires you to step out of the frantic race of potential and into the grounded reality of execution. You must stop apologizing for the miles on your odometer and start leveraging the depth of your terrain. Your age is not a cage. It is the ultimate leverage. It is the proof that you have survived the fire and forged something enduring. Once you align your mindset with the inherent power of your seasoning, the desperation evaporates. You stop seeking validation from the external world and start demanding a higher standard from yourself, naturally drawing others into your unshakable orbit. The first pillar of an undeniable masculine frame is emotional unshakability. We live in an era defined by outrage, hyperreactivity, and manufactured chaos. The majority of men today are easily swayed by minor inconveniences, their internal states violently thrown off course by a traffic jam, a rude comment, or a shifting mood. This emotional fragility is a massive biological deterrent. Deep down, a woman is seeking an anchor, a force that remains terrifyingly calm when the world around it descends into madness. If you're easily provoked, you're easily controlled, and a man who is controlled by his environment cannot lead. Consider the psychological drain of a man who constantly leaks his energy into the void of anger or frustration. It is exhausting to witness and impossible to respect. When you lose your composure over trivial matters, you are non-verbally communicating that your internal world is weak and undefended. You become just another storm for her to manage, rather than the safe harbor she instinctively desires. The historical parallel is the king who panics at the first sight of a threat. His subjects lose faith instantly. Your reactivity destroys trust faster than any physical flaw ever could. The remedy is the mastery of the pause. You must build an impenetrable fortress between the external trigger and your internal response. This is not about suppressing emotion. It is about refusing to let the chaotic world dictate your pulse. When chaos strikes, you hold your ground. You observe the panic, but you do not consume it. This emotional armor is a rare and magnetic frequency. A man who simply watches the storm without flinching becomes an irresistible force of gravity, projecting a profound safety that cannot be faked or purchased by any external means. The mechanism of mastery lies in what happens immediately after an insult or an unexpected disaster. The impulsive mind demands immediate retaliation. It screams for you to defend your ego, to raise your voice, to snap back. This is the instinct of a cornered animal, not a sovereign man. The failure to filter this instinct is what keeps men trapped in cycles of regret and diminished respect. When you react instantly, you surrender your power to the instigator. You become a puppet dancing on the strings of someone else's emotional instability, entirely abandoning your own frame. The psychological damage of constant reactivity is cumulative. Every time you lose your temper over a minor slight, you chip away at your own self-respect. In the eyes of a high-value partner, this lack of impulse control is a glaring red flag, signaling a man who cannot govern himself. Think of the seasoned general on the battlefield. He does not scream when the enemy advances. He calculates. The modern man, however, is quick to wage war on the internet, in traffic, or in the living room, bleeding out his masculine authority over battles that have absolutely no consequence. You must institutionalize the 3-second gap. When the world attempts to provoke you, you introduce silence. 1, 2, 3. In those 3 seconds, the biological surge of adrenaline peaks and begins to subside, allowing your higher faculties to take the wheel. That silence is not submission, it is a display of absolute terrifying power. It tells the aggressor, and anyone watching, that you are the undisputed master of your own domain. By choosing your response rather than falling victim to your reaction, you elevate yourself above the noise and cement your status as the calm at the center. The modern male vocabulary is infested with hesitation. Phrases like "I don't know, I guess," and "whatever you want" are the anthems of the passive man. This wishy-washy behavior is the second major habit that kills attraction instantly. Radical intentionality is the exact opposite. It is the deliberate, unapologetic movement toward a specific outcome. As an older man, stumbling through life without a compass is inexcusable. You are expected to have a trajectory. A woman's biological software is scanning for a man who possesses a vision, because a man with a vision is a man who can secure a future. When you defer every decision, you force your partner into the masculine role of navigation and execution. This causes immediate polarity reversal and deep psychological resentment. The burden of constant decision-making exhausts her and erodes her respect for you. You become a passenger in your own life. The historical archetype of the wanderer only works for the young. For the mature man, being aimless is a symbol of failure. The hesitation in your voice is a broadcast of your internal uncertainty, signaling that you do not trust your own judgment enough to stake a claim on reality. Eradicate the language of hesitation from your mouth. The era of maybe is over. You must start operating with radical intentionality in every domain of your life. Choose your path, choose your words, and choose your actions with definitive purpose. If you invite someone into your space, you lead the interaction. Have the location picked, the time set, and the plan forged. This is not about being a tyrant, it is about relieving the people around you from the anxiety of the unknown. When you speak and move with absolute intent, you project a deeply attractive aura of competence and certainty. Leadership is not a title you're handed, it is a frequency you emit. At its core, leadership is the willingness to absorb the risk of making the wrong choice so that others do not have to. In the dynamic of human attraction, this willingness acts as a potent pheromone. Men who shrink from decision-making are instinctively categorized as dependents, not partners. The mechanism here is evolutionary. Survival in harsh environments required a decisive navigator. The modern landscape is different, but the biological wiring remains exactly the same. Decisiveness is indistinguishable from strength. The absence of this leadership creates a vacuum of anxiety. If you're always waiting for permission or consensus, you cultivate an environment of stagnation. The psychological toll of being with a passive man is the constant feeling of insecurity. It is the realization that if the ship starts sinking, the captain is waiting for instructions. Men who fail to lead in the micro moments, where to eat, how to spend the weekend, will inevitably fail to lead in the macro crisis of life. This consistent abdication of responsibility makes you entirely invisible to a woman seeking a true equal. You must embrace the burden of command in your daily life. Start small by making definitive choices in situations where you usually defer. Own the outcome, whether it results in success or temporary failure. The power lies in the fact that you made the call. A man who makes a confident, imperfect decision is vastly more attractive than a man who endlessly paralyzes himself, seeking the perfect consensus. Leadership as a pheromone means your presence alone provides direction. You become the solid ground on which others can confidently stand, establishing a dynamic of profound trust. The third habit is the refusal to surrender to gravity. Many men reach their later years, look at their bank accounts, and decide to turn off the engine. They let their bodies soften, their minds dull, and their ambitions fade into a recliner. This tragic surrender is common, which is exactly why rejecting it makes you extraordinary. The silver discipline is the relentless commitment to maintaining and upgrading your physical and mental vessel. A man who continues to forge himself, who embraces voluntary hardship well into his later decades, signals a terrifying level of self-respect. A deteriorating body and a stagnant mind are profound indicators of a man who has given up on his own narrative. When you stop training and stop learning, you tell the world that your best chapters are behind you. The psychological impact is a slow descent into irrelevance. Women observe this physical and mental decline and instinctively recognize a lack of discipline. It is a sign that you cannot delay gratification, that you have surrendered to comfort. A man who cannot conquer his own laziness cannot be relied upon to conquer the challenges of a shared life. He has become a liability. The mandate is simple. You must re-engage with the fire of resistance. Pick one brutally hard thing and commit to mastering it. It could be lifting heavier weights, running further, mastering a complex new language, or building a new enterprise. The specific task matters less than the friction it creates. You must show the world that you're still in the arena, still bleeding, still growing. A man who is actively constructing his future, regardless of the years behind him, possesses a raw kinetic energy. You remain a dangerous, capable entity, endlessly attractive, because you're never truly finished. Fortitude is not a trait you're born with, it is a callus you develop through repeated exposure to friction. In the context of the older man, fortitude is the visual and energetic proof of a life lived deliberately. It is the quiet confidence that radiates from a man who knows exactly what his body and mind can endure. The mechanism of attraction here is rooted in security. When a woman sees a man who rigorously disciplines himself, who wakes up early, who subjects himself to the iron, who studies relentlessly, she sees a biological fortress. She sees a man who is actively bulletproofing his existence. Conversely, the man who avoids all discomfort becomes soft, not just physically, but spiritually. His lack of fortitude bleeds into his posture, his gaze, and his tone of voice. He becomes easily offended and easily tired. The historical parallel is the garrison that has not seen battle in generations. Its walls are crumbling and its guards are asleep. Living a life entirely optimized for comfort accelerates your decay and makes you utterly unappealing to a high-caliber partner. Comfort is the silent assassin of masculine vitality, slowly suffocating the very traits that make you magnetically powerful. You must intentionally design discomfort into your daily routine. Treat your physical fitness and mental sharpness not as hobbies, but as non-negotiable daily warfare. Push the boundaries of your endurance so that the trivial stresses of modern life feel like nothing. When you're in superior shape compared to men half your age, you visually demonstrate mental supremacy. You prove that your willpower overrides your impulses. This forging of fortitude transforms you from an aging spectator into a timeless warrior, moving through the world with a heavy, undeniable presence that commands absolute respect. Beyond the physical and the intentional, there exists an invisible habit that serves as the ultimate anchor for long-term attraction. It is the capacity for silent, non-judgmental presence. Most men, particularly younger ones, listen only to reply. They hear a problem and instantly rush to fix it, to lecture, or to demonstrate their intellect. This completely destroys intimacy. The older, high-value man understands that his greatest weapon is not his unsolicited advice. It is his unshakable attention. The mechanism is profound emotional validation, creating a space where she feels entirely seen. When you constantly interrupt to offer solutions, you invalidate her emotional experience. You communicate that her feelings are a puzzle you quickly want to solve so you can move on. This leaves a woman feeling managed rather than understood. The psychological result is a slow withdrawal of her trust and vulnerability. The tragic reality is that many men mistake their logical interventions for leadership, completely missing the emotional undercurrent. The failure to hold space creates an invisible wall between you, turning a potential deep connection into a shallow, frustrating transaction. You must cultivate the discipline of profound listening. When she speaks, look directly into her eyes and let her empty her mind without a single interruption. Do not analyze, do not critique, do not fix. Simply hold the frame of the conversation with your grounded presence. Let her words land without bouncing them back. This level of emotional bandwidth is incredibly rare. When you can sit with the chaotic flow of human emotion and remain utterly composed and fully attentive, you forge a bond of absolute steel. You become the rare sanctuary she will fiercely protect and deeply desire. You're not fading, you're simply transitioning from the frantic noise of youth into the heavy, silent power of mastery. By embedding emotional unshakability, demanding radical intentionality, forging your physical vessel through the silver discipline, and wielding the invisible weapon of silent presence, you rewrite the rules of your own existence. The world wants you docile, nostalgic, and weak. Refuse the narrative. Your years are the very leverage that turns you into a fortress. It is time to step into the gravity of who you are meant to be. If you are ready to stop apologizing for your age and start weaponizing your wisdom, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment below with the word Anchor to commit to your own unshakable frame. You know what you need to do next?